Mitchell Gladstone in the building. Kind of a special episode of Dawkins on Duke, just a live post game reaction to the Duke game. Just got the bounce back win over Wake Forest, 76-64. Not quite as close as the final score made it seem. We ended up 20 a couple times in the second half. But yeah, man, it was a good bounce back game. I like that lineup with was it Wendell, Trevor, AJ, Paolo, and Mark. Um, yeah, I think that lineup works really well and gives us a lot of different options on both ends of the court.
Yeah, I think the switch from AJ to Jeremy was sort of inevitable at some point. I mean, I guess maybe not from Jeremy to AJ, but it felt like AJ was going to start at some point, and it was just a
Hmm.
matter of where he fit in the lineup. And Jeremy's been down a little bit, but then he had that big shot tonight. That I think that was honestly the most important thing was it seemed like in the second half. I mean, yes, there was the run, but then when Wake Forest made a couple little runs, both times Duke had an answer. I mean,
Hmm.
that was huge. I mean, you never felt like that game was really in doubt. Um, after that run out of the break, and so just seeing them. I mean, look, we knew that Paulo can do this. Um, you know, it was sort of funny. People might see the little thumbnail. I just sort of put Paulo up there because I was like, well, he's got to play well. He played pretty well last game. Man, I mean, that was Paulo at his best tonight, and then AJ looks like he's really rounded the form too.
Yeah, Paolo's ultra aggressive. I mean, I think at times there were times where he was settling a little bit, especially in the first half.
Yeah.
Offense was kind of stagnant for a big chunk of that first half. A decent amount of possessions where it come down one pass and just kind of watching Paolo see what he does. And, he kind of pulls up a three or takes a tough two or something like that. And, that's kind of when I feel like we're at our worst is when we're just watching. But it seemed like second half, obviously transition points help a lot, getting steals and stops and getting out and running. But even if the possession, ends with a Paolo ISO, just getting it moving it around a little bit, um, letting guys touch the ball, letting guys feel like, they're a part of the offense and, getting the defense moving from side to side and then getting to the Paolo ISO, I think, helps our offense just work a little bit better.
I mean, you said it. I mean, look, this team is significantly better in transition than they are
Hmm.
in the flow of the offense. I mean, part of that is just they play really good defense and they're going to get a lot. They get a lot of transition opportunities, but also, even if AJ is shooting 44% like he is right now, the rest of the way, they don't have a ton of spot up shooters. So,
Hmm.
that the flow of a half court offense isn't going to be nearly as good as his team getting out in transition. Um, but I do think I'm curious from your perspective what you saw. I mean, people could say they made some halftime adjustments, in-game adjustments. Perhaps it was just a matter of playing better. I don't. I mean, you tell me what you saw because it felt like they came out. I mean, obviously they had that little spurt at the end of the half, getting that bucket from AJ before the break was huge. But you come out and you just keep it rolling. I'm curious, what adjustment did you see, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think it started at the end of the half with that little spurt that you just mentioned. Um, and part of that gives them confidence going into the second half. And like I was saying, the ball was just felt like the ball was moving a little bit more, and we were getting stops. Like there, but honestly, the defense wasn't bad in the first half either.
No.
We were still getting stops. We were just taking like bad shots, and we had
Yeah, I
bad
mean
possessions.
everyone. You said everyone's just standing around staring, and then
Yeah.
Paulo just forced a couple up.
Yeah.
then that would give them transition opportunities.
Right.
Um,
And that's
yeah,
it's deflating for guys, to work real hard on the defensive end and then come down and a bad shot now. Oh, we got to get back
right.
and play defense again. So yeah, I mean, I think honestly it was just moving the ball around and making sure, different guys were touching the ball. Um Big thing was, not turning it over today as much as we did against Miami. Only 7 turnovers, and for a big chunk of the second half, we were at like 3 for the game. So that was, I think that was good. It's clearly a point of emphasis for them after the Miami game, and so
Right.
it's good to see them kind of bounce back and really take care of the ball. Wendell, no turnovers, and he's handling the ball for most of the game. So uh, yeah, it was good, man.
I guess so let me ask you this. I mean, look, first off, I hope I haven't seen anything about Trevor yet. I mean, he was back out on the bench of the game. I hope he's okay, first off.
Yeah, that's important.
It looked a little bit dicey. Couldn't tell whether it was like a I mean, it wasn't non-contact. It was something that happened on the rebound, it looked like. I just couldn't tell what it
Is it
was.
shoulder? Is it
I
his
I could
arm or
not tell. It
shoulder?
looked like they were I thought he was grabbing at his knee,
Uh-huh.
but I really couldn't tell. He came back out, which was good. Um, Now, I guess the thing that I thought was interesting, I mean, it's kind of fascinating because there isn't, other than Jeremy, this team doesn't have a lot of speed,
Mhm.
but it's so interesting to watch. Like if you think about Wendell, Trevor, and AJ, none of them are fast, but they're all so strong. That makes the defense. It's just so interesting to watch them play defense. I mean, look, I think AJ's got he's gonna eventually be a little bit quicker. Um, but you can see, I mean, he can match up with anybody. I mean, that's the crazy part. I mean, he was they had him all the way down from basically 2 through 5. I mean, really 1 through 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I was saying that lineup is so interesting because you can switch you can switch 1 through 4 if you want to. I mean, you really can switch 1 through 5. Mark can play on the perimeter as well, but you probably want him at the basket a little bit more. Um, and that lineup allows you to be so aggressive in passing lanes and just out on the perimeter on the ball because you have Mark at the basket. There to clean up any messes. So yeah, I mean, I think that lineup, and they're just getting started. With AJ, just kind of really getting after it in the last few weeks, and being at 100%, and with him shooting the way he is, um, opens up a whole lot on the offense. Opens up, that gives it's going to give Paolo more opportunities. Um, going to give Wendell more driving opportunities. So, um, I think it's the this the ceiling is endless for that
What the
lineup,
is it is
especially.
it is it the roof?
No, the ceiling's not the roof. The ceiling's above the roof for that lineup, and yeah, I mean, big thing, was Trevor. Trevor looked more comfortable. He kind of been in a slump a little bit, so that's good. He didn't take as many threes, which
No, I would love to see
probably
him.
helps.
I would love to see him. I mean, he did it tonight a little bit. I love to see him post up, play some bully ball down there. I
Yeah,
mean, he
yeah.
he can he can do it.
Yeah,
And
actually, that was, I think, one of the adjustments they made in the second half. Announcers were talking about it a little bit, but they were just kind of attacking certain matchups.
right.
They felt like they had a mismatch. They were going at it, and Trevor did it a couple times, and yeah, that's definitely a strength for us. He's going to be bigger and stronger than most of the guys guarding him, so you can definitely take advantage of that.
So this is maybe something small. I'm curious. I mean, coach is usually pretty good about it, but feels like in general recently he's sort of tried. I mean, he in general he tries to let the guys play through stuff. Did you
Hmm.
think when I mean, not that it really made a huge difference tonight, but did you think do you think John maybe could have called a timeout in the first half a little bit earlier? I know everyone likes to wait for the use it or lose it, and then in the second half, what did you think of him, sort of getting out on it early? I mean, that's maybe a very minor thing, but it's just sort of interesting given that, this is his team next year, and I'm sort of curious if you thought it was different or not at all.
Um, I mean, in the first half, it was about the same. No one wants to burn the use it or lose it
Right,
too early, and then especially because now they dropped it down to 4 timeouts. When I was playing, it was
right,
5. So you don't want to burn the first half timeout too early, and then you don't have to use another one. Now you only have 2 in the second half. So
right,
uh, most coaches are going to be
right.
conservative with that first time, unless it's just
That's fair. Yeah,
completely out of hands.
I thought there was a point when they you're like, okay, maybe we'll stunt this run early. Granted, the guys figured it out on their own,
Yeah.
but I thought there was a point where you might consider using it there, just being like, hey, let's not
Yeah,
let this get away.
I think to burn that one in the first half, that you have to be in, pretty bad shape.
Right.
And I don't feel, they weren't ever really in awful shape. Obviously we weren't playing great and we weren't, getting the shots that we wanted, but uh it wasn't, it wasn't the worst. And then the second half, I mean, I think he used them well.
Right.
I think he only used 2. Um he used them in good spots when we had gotten out to a lead. They chipped into a little bit. Okay, bring it in. Let's settle it down. And then the guys responded out of those
Yeah.
timeouts and 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 pushed the lead back up because it could have got dicey. Um, it could have been a barn burner down the stretch had we if we let them come back from 13 or 15 down and they have the momentum and the crowds behind them and stuff. Then it gets tough down the
And
stretch.
that's my thing is, I mean, look, I know you're never going to doubt coach, and I tend to not doubt him either. I mean, I think they're playing times, especially in non-conference play when he lets the guys play through it. Everyone's like, I know people who are like, call a timeout, call a timeout. I'm like, this is a non-conference game. They're gonna blow this team out, win by 30. Let them play through it. Let them figure it out. Like I think that's good. But in ACC play, you know, you gotta use them at the right time, and you gotta get something. You gotta get something from them, and they got something from them, like you said tonight. They got answers when they needed them.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think it was a mature second half from our guys, even though we don't have a ton of maturity on the team. But I mean, I
well,
think they played like a mature team in the second half.
that's what and that's what I guess that sort of segues well. Um, the two oldest guys on this team, neither was very good tonight, and they don't have. This, I mean, I know. Look, we know this team is probably only going to be 8 guys deep. I
Who are you
just
talking? Joey and Wendell?
Joey and Theo.
Oh, Joey and Theo.
I don't know. Like I'm a little apprehensive about the fact that they have these two guys who just don't, they're not getting anything from either of them. And I don't. I mean, we didn't really get there, but then Mark picks up his fourth foul with however long left, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden you're down to 5 guys really.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of AJ kind of like not eliminate, but makes up for like both of those guys, because obviously he can play the perimeter.
Right.
Um, he's obviously taken a bunch of Joey's minutes recently, and then you can slide him down to the 4 and put Paolo at the 5.
I,
If
I
Mark is
mean,
in trouble, so
I mean, they're gonna look. They're gonna get away with playing 6 on most nights. I'm just worried about it later in the year
no,
when
yeah, that's always a worry. That's kind of life as a Duke fan is worrying about our depth. Which we thought coming into the year we were going to have a little bit more than typical, but we're back to our normal 6, 7 guy rotation. But I mean, Theo, I'm not as worried about Theo, just because he's played 4 years,
right.
played at a high level. He knows what to do, and
mean, I don't know
And,
how. I
we're
mean,
not expecting him to go, 10 and 10 off the bench every game.
and we don't
What
know.
he brings is going to
Did
be
he? I mean,
outside of
he
the stat sheet most of the nights.
right, and he might have gotten like some of these guys might have gotten sick. Like
Hmm.
I'm, I don't want to guess. I have no insight. You, if anyone has insight, you might, but I know you don't either. Um, though,
Hmm.
if I had to guess, the one guy who looked like he got sick, was Wendell because he looked pretty rough last week, and he still looks like he's sort of rounded back into form. Like it takes him, almost the first half to get to find his first shot, and then he played well in the second half again tonight, just like he did against Miami and Georgia Tech. So if I was like, if you were like, who got sick, I would guess Wendell, but I have no clue. The fact of the matter is, everyone was hampered by being off for 2 weeks essentially.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so like it's taken them all. Like Coach said the other day, it's taken them all time. Um, I just again, like you said, I mean, I think Theo's going to get there. Um, and look, we've seen Duke teams play with seven before,
Yeah.
and succeed with seven.
Hmm.
Um, you know, obviously we know eight was enough. So like
Yeah.
it's not that it's not like they can't do it with seven or eight. Um, but if you tell me it's six guys, like that's a little concerning. I don't know. I mean, look, hopefully they'll have a chance in some of these games to get you know, Jalen Blake's in the game, maybe
Hmm.
get Bates. I don't know. I mean, those are the only other two guys that really are like options. I don't know if either of them is a realistic option for big games, but I'd like to see a little bit more of them.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. We're not seeing the guys day in and day out in practice and stuff. The coaches are, and it's tough. It's like, who are you taking out? AJ's
Right.
playing so well. Obviously, you want Paolo on the court most of the time. Wendell's not coming off the court, so
No, and
it
that's
shrinks how many minutes are even available just
and
off the
that's
rip.
fine. Like if what so I'm looking at right now. Wendell 39, Paulo 37, AJ 35. That's what it should be.
Hmm.
I mean, those guys are capable and should be playing 35 minutes a night. Um, but whether it's Keels and I mean Mark obviously was in foul trouble tonight, but it's not like he's going to play more on most nights than 28 to 30 minutes. So you know, okay, so if those are the guys, then you gotta fill in the gaps. And I would just again, like I said, I know coach is going to keep his bench short. It's just a matter of okay, can there be some sort of depth and can they do something? Because it felt like when they came in tonight, um, that sort of stretch right in the middle of the first half, that was painful to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I don't know. I don't know if what the
So
solution is, because it's like,
yeah,
um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who you put in. I mean, you're gonna give Joey a shot pretty much every night, but if you put Joey in, you have to take AJ out. It's like, well,
hmm
how long do we want? How long do we want AJ to
hmm
sit,
hmm
especially as well as he's playing? Um, and obviously, no disrespect to Joey, it's just AJ's been playing great, so. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I mean, that's what makes it's one of the things that makes coaching so hard, man. Is you got to make these decisions and figure out lineups and um, try and get through a grueling season, in one piece and playing your best basketball um, in March and early April.
we talked about it briefly offline. I know we didn't talk about it on the pod. Um, I guess what were your takeaways from Saturday? And I guess I mean it's felt like that this team. I think the big thing for me, and maybe you tell me. I mean, we've seen this team. They've switched. They know how to flip the switch, um, and they flipped the switch and kept it on. And I felt like they did that for stretches against Miami, but not consistently. And I think it feels like they're learning that hey, we got to keep that switch flipped on all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it, and it's not an excuse or anything, but part of it is, second game back from COVID, haven't really been able to practice. Um, so, it's harder to keep the pedal down. Um, you're not, they're probably not back in game shape by
Right.
the Miami game. Um, so that was probably a big reason why they were kind of playing in spurts and they probably get a little bit tired. And another reason why depth would be nice, because then you could kind of throw some more guys out there and maybe they can kind of keep the intensity up a little bit. But I just think tonight, third game back from the COVID break, got their legs underneath them a little bit more and was able to get comfortable in that second half and keep the pedal down. There was still, some lapses, gave up like, a couple 6-7-0 runs, but, you know, being able to say, okay, we're going to stop, you get to 13, we're stopping it and we're putting it back up to 20. Was good, was good to see. So, hopefully they can just, continue to keep getting their legs underneath them and then, get rolling in this ACC season here.
I mean, it's interesting because this league is just so jumbled. I don't know. I mean,
Mhm.
I still think Miami is probably the third best team after Duke, then Carolina. I couldn't tell you who's the fourth. Before tonight I would have said Wake Forest. Um, I think now I might change that to Notre Dame, but Florida State looked really good last night. I mean, that's the thing is like it's still. I mean, it's definitely look. It's down from you know your years. It's down from most years, um,
Yeah.
but it's still really good. And I
Yeah,
mean
I mean,
this.
you can
I
still
mean,
get beat. You can still get beat every night.
right.
Um, so
I mean that's the thing is they go win Saturday like they should. I mean that's a home game against NC State. Although every NC State game just haunts me. They're one of those teams I feel like we have
and
way too much trouble with.
it's 1 o'clock tip too.
Yeah, got to get up for that one. But then look, it's a stretch where they're. I mean, it's a very they're going to have Florida. They basically have for the next six after Saturday away, with the away games being Florida State, Louisville, Notre Dame, Carolina.
Hmm.
I mean, those are going to be easily the four toughest road games you play all season.
Mm, yeah, I guess
And
so.
and they're all in a row. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think if they can stay healthy, hopefully Trevor's all right. They stay healthy, and use this tonight as kind of a springboard and
right.
get rolling. Again, like we took the loss against Miami, um, but this is still one of the best teams in the country, and
Yeah. I
they're
mean,
they're this is a really good and really talented team, and if they come to play, um, if they play 40 minutes, nobody in the ACC is beating them. So
no. And look, and I think the really good part. I mean, the important part is. I mean, they have one, two, three. I'm just looking at their next. They have so their next. What is it? Five home games. They go. The home games are NC State, Syracuse, Clemson, Virginia,
UVA,
Wake Forest. Like
yeah,
basically before Florida State comes, and honestly, even when Florida State comes, they're not nearly as good this year. I mean, you shouldn't lose at home again. There's no excuse to lose. I mean, there really was no excuse to lose at home at any point this season, but they shouldn't lose at home again. Um,
no,
and except maybe those guys on March 5th. But even then, I don't think they're losing coach's last home game.
no, that'd
So
be tough to lose that one.
So I mean that's the thing is like they need to when they get those opportunities at home though, like that's the thing. Get those opportunities at home, you know, step on a team's throat, put them away early, and
Yeah, then maybe some
Especially
guys can get some minutes.
well, that's the thing too is, and they're going to have to get some. They're going to have to. They're going to have some stretches because they have that like makeup game with Notre Dame. They're going to play another Saturday, Monday. So they're going to have another makeup game at some point. Would be my guess.
Yeah,
Um,
that'll be a tough stretch.
it's a
At
really it's a
Louisville.
it's a really tough stretch. I
Yeah,
was talking about it with my friends, and it's they go Saturday, Monday, Saturday,
yeah,
Louisville, at Notre Dame, at Carolina.
yeah.
But
The
but
Saturday
that's
Monday is the one that always worries me, especially both on the road. So you got to get the Louisville one for sure.
at least that's not a huge road trip. Like at least it's not like going like Florida State to Syracuse. Like Louisville to Notre Dame is not bad. But you've done
It's not great.
it. So
But I don't know. I'll be interested to see what they end up doing if they just go straight to South Bend or if they come back in
I
between.
can't imagine them doing anything but going straight to South Bend.
Yeah, that would. I mean, that's better
I
for
can't.
them, especially the Louisville game's at 11, so that's nice. If you play at
I can I,
11,
I can I can already tell you that's the first thing, win or loss. It's the first thing coach is going to talk about in the press conference after Notre Dame is how hard of a stretch that was. He always hates that, even when they play Saturday, Monday home.
normally, yeah,
But yeah, so I mean, again, big takeaways is like I thought it was kind of notable. I normally I don't make a big deal about it, and you probably, as a former player, could care less. But normally they don't make a big deal about things on Twitter. But like there were a couple, like they were like big game, big bounce back. Paulo tweeted something
yeah, I did.
like
Yeah, I saw that.
like
Yeah,
I don't know whether that was I don't know whether that was just coming from whether it's coming from coach or coming from the players or whoever. But like
definitely from coach.
clearly everyone was on the same page about the significance of this game.
Yeah,
And you know even despite that real a bad stretch in the first half, it was clear like they got the message.
yeah, for sure. That's definitely coming from coach. I did notice that today. I was scrolling through Twitter and I was like, man, they keep posting about this bounce back game. Um, but I mean, it was an important game. You can't take anything for granted. Wake Forest was 13-3 coming into this game. Um, so it is an important game that you have to win. Granted, you should win, but you have to win it. So,
And go win on the road. That was their first ACC.
hmm
That was their first ACC road game. That was their first road game since they lost at Ohio State. Second,
hmm
that's their also only their second true road game all year.
hmm
So it's never, even in a down ACC, never easy to win on the road.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you get it. You know what it's like when we're talking about these road games that are coming up. Well, now you know a little bit. I mean, it sounded like it was a pretty decent atmosphere there.
Yeah, it was
I'm
good,
sure I'm
honestly.
sure it'll be even better Tuesday night at Florida State, because Florida State, they always get up for Duke. I mean, really everybody gets up for Duke.
Everybody
But
does.
Florida State, Louisville, Notre Dame, Carolina, yeah, they're all getting up for Duke. So
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's a really good tone setter.
yeah. It's good. Good win tonight, and just gotta keep that second half momentum going into this next part of the season, and
Oh,
string some wins
and
together.
I'll since we didn't really get an ad read in tonight, I'll get the ad read in, which was Duke was -4.5 last night when it opened. I didn't look at Bet Rivers, but at my sports book that I was looking at, that was not Bet Rivers, which is not where I should have been looking. They were Duke opened at -4.5, and I told people, I said, get in on Duke at -4.5. It was
Yeah,
up.
it's easy.
It went up to Duke -6 by tip, and I was like, yeah, you still should get on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next time
Speaking
Duke
of
is
lines, that Miami line was insane. It was like
that
16 and a half.
15 and a half.
Jesus,
Yeah,
that was nuts.
it's funny. I will admit to my some of my gambling. I don't bet on yeah, see now I'm getting my friends are watching and they're telling me that I shouldn't be talking about my gambling. I can't bet on gambling. I'm currently in Arkansas. But I was in Arizona over the weekend, so I was betting on some games, and I was watching the line live come down. I was like I'm not betting at 16.5, and then it got down. And I wanted it to get down to Duke like -4 or something. I was like, oh, maybe
It
I'll
wasn't coming down that far.
put on it, uh, but it never. I think it got down to like -6.5, and then
Yes.
I was like, well, we're probably gonna lose this game or whatnot. But point is,
Hop
Saturday,
on Bet Rivers. Check the
hop on Bet
line.
Rivers. Duke will probably be another double-digit favorite. I can't advocate
What's
betting
our
on what on Saturday.
what's our code? Field is it Field of 68, right?
Field of 68. I think I don't even know if we have a code anymore, but
Oh,
uh,
just
the
kidding, guys.
Bet Rivers is always good. Again, they're going to be a double-digit favorite. I can't advocate betting on double-digit favorites, but
Yeah.
if you're a Duke fan and you really believe in this team, go ahead. They're playing at home. We're telling you they're not going to lose at home. So throw them in a parlay. How about that?
Yeah. That's probably your
That's my
best
game.
bet.
That's my gambling advice.
That's your
Which
best bet
again,
of the night is
that's my best bet.
Duke in
Throw
the
Duke- throw
parlay.
throw Duke in a parlay at home the rest of the season. They're not
Minus
losing.
Duke minus 340 or whatever they'll be.
Duke minus 3,000 on Saturday. Wins that. All right. Well, that's probably about enough. Once I'm talking about gambling, that's probably a sign that we need to wrap this up.
Once we got into degen territory, it's time to go.
So, all right, good stuff, man. Looking forward to Saturday and Tuesday, and yeah, we'll talk to everybody soon. Oh, and perhaps if you guys like this, let us know. I think we maybe trying to do something like we were doing last year with Locker Room.
Mhm.
So we'll keep you guys posted.
Yep. Cool.
All right, Trey. Good win. Talk to you later, man.
Later.